Hey guys, Coach Dan here. Now, before we get into what we've got on the cards today, a friendly reminder that if you've been taking some time off of sriracha, maybe a couple of years, potentially don't add it back into every single meal you're eating immediately. There might be some fiery results from that. Anyway, with that said, today we've got a push workout. It's been a good week so far training-wise, so we just keep that ball rolling. Things today are business as usual compared to last week. So this week we've already done a push day. This is the second push day of the week. So how my structure looks at the moment is it's a kind of a modified version of what a lot of people would call, what do they call it? Push, pull, lower. But instead I go push, lower, pull for a couple of reasons, which I can outline in future videos. Essentially just exercise selection and stuff, and fatigue and recovery. It just seems to suit a little bit better going from lower body to back versus back to lower body when doing things like deadlifts and stuff like that. Anyway, so this is second lower body session of the week. Second push session of the week. So yeah, we've got some good exercises. This is a good workout. We don't need to change it at all. It's just about seeing if we can keep working hard, keep getting that stimulus for muscle growth, keep progressing where possible, and that's about it. Other than that, yeah, we start off with a unique exercise. So if you haven't seen the cane bed bar before, it's essentially like a bench press with a big space where your chest would be to get extra range of motion. I'll show you that in uno momento. See you there. All right, here we go for exercise number one. So this is a low incline cane bed bar bench press. So the cane bed bar has this little dent in it. And as we go to press, or as we go to the bottom phase of the press, just allows a larger stretch through the chest. So not all gyms will have a bar like this, but there are other options such as dumbbells, because dumbbells can get that big stretch. But again, there would also be nothing wrong with doing a barbell version and just finishing on your chest. So to do this one, just like any other one, I've got it on the lowest incline. For me, that seems to feel pretty good. Bar comes up and over, controlling the way down. Tap the chest somewhere between kind of mid-chest up towards the clavicle, pressing back up. So doing things on the incline can potentially help work the upper part of the pec a little bit, which for me is something that needs work. So we'll do this one 3 sets, 5 to 10 reps. Again, focus on that deep stretch. That's what we've got this bar for. Focus on pushing with the chest, not with other things, although there are some other things, but the main focus is the chest, right? Feel the stretch, all that tension in the chest. As you push with the chest as well. All right, couple warm-up sets, and then we'll be into set number one. All right, so that's the cane bed bar bench press. I did 3 sets. So yeah, the big idea is that gap in the bar gives a larger stretch through the chest. Some current research, or some more recent research, is suggesting the importance of that stretch position for growing muscle. So this bar, again, it's a little bit of a luxury, but if you have it, it's great. If not, again, things like dumbbells or good range of motion chest presses can get you that stretch. Not every exercise has to be about the maximum stretch, but that's definitely a good one. Advantage of this one over the dumbbells is The dumbbells has a lot of freedom to go anywhere, so there might be a stability component more so than the bar. So it's a good reason to give this a try if you ever can. All right, let's move on. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the seated chest press. Most gyms will have a version of this. This is a pin loader one. I quite like this one. The adjustment on this doesn't allow any more depth. So again, I've got the yoga block. Yoga block will go in behind the shoulder blades. Again, to allow this big stretch through the chest. I've set the handles kind of mid-chest height, but again, it can be anywhere from nipple almost up to clavicle or collarbone for what feels good for you. Big stress. Drive with the chest, pulling the arm across the body. Stretch, feel that big stretch. Push. So I've done the cane bar on the slight incline. Now I'm going with something flat, and that's something potentially important about training chest, is that the chest kind of goes in some different directions. So it comes in and attaches to your arm at the front here, and that's what pulls the arm across. But part of it comes up, attaches to your clavicle or collarbone. Part of it will come down the sternum, and then part of it down towards your sort of rib cage and that kind of fascia that's down through there. So doing movements where your arm kind of goes up like this, across like this, and then sometimes down like this potentially has some merit for making sure all of the chest works. So for this one, we're now training that horizontal component. I did 5 to 10 on that incline press. So now for this one, I'm going to do 10 to 15. Again, just to tick all those boxes. I quite like that 10 to 15 rep range. So we'll get there in a sec. A couple of warm-ups, ready to rock and roll. All right, that's seated chest press. So for me, adjustability, this isn't great for depth, so I put the yoga block behind my shoulder blades, 10 to 15 reps. Machines are really good because you can push close to failure, try really hard. No issue with balance or technique like the free weight. So I do lean towards machines on some stuff these days. But again, you can get a combination of both like I'm doing as well. All right, superset, and that finishes off the chest work. Next up, we're gonna go with a dip to push up superset. So I'm doing a feet elevated push up. As you'll see in a second, the angle of that just allows, again, for me to work that more of the upper chest, which is a bit of a weaker point for me. Dips, I've always fancied dips as a really good movement. My shoulder hasn't always been super pleased with it, but I found a way to kind of incorporate it. Because these are bodyweight, doing this beforehand can help make that harder. So I got the reps up pretty high on doing my push-ups. So then I added in the dips beforehand, almost like a bit of pre-fatigue, and I make this a superset. So for my superset variation, because I want it to be quite chest dominant, and triceps are gonna be smashed, anterior delts are gonna be smashed, but I want it to be mainly chest, I essentially lean nice and forward into it. As usual, control the down phase, push arms across the body. So I'll do a set of that, nice and close to failure. A set on the push-ups, pretty much immediately afterwards get set up. I use a couple of those handles on the push-up, just help to keep my wrist square. So I'm also going to weight the dips today because I got to higher reps last week. So weighted here, body weight here as a superset. 2 sets. So that's a dip to deficit push-up superset. So I use these. You could just use plates or any of the yoga blocks that I use and stuff like that to get you a deficit. I like this because I can hold it, keep my wrist square. So not flexing my wrist spat so it doesn't give me any grief with my wrists. Good combo. Again, if you get quite good at either one of these, put them together. This, or the dip, fatigues the push-up. So essentially, you're not doing as many reps. And it's just another technique or strategy. So superset, chest, triceps got smash here, front of the shoulder. So pretty effective. And what I'm feeling now is that we've done some good work. So that's a good sign. So we head to shoulders next. And then on with some of the other stuff. So before we go into the next exercise, I just thought I'd quickly explain my training amount. So in this workout, you'll notice, so that's the chest work already done. But something to keep in mind for that is I do a chest workout 2 times per week. So I did 3 sets of that incline press, 2 sets of the chest press, and then 2 sets of this superset. So that equals 7. I do another 7 on another chest day. So it's a total of 14 sets. So you might look at this workout and go, yeah, well, I know this guy only does 20 plus sets or whatever it might be. That's good, that works for different people and stuff like that. The benefit of splitting it up over multiple workouts is that for this workout, I only have to do 7, so I can push really hard for those 7. You imagine if you're getting through 20 sets in the one workout, you get to the back end of that and how much juice you have to push on those last few sets. So that doesn't mean it can't be done. Again, when they look at programming, they look at frequency of how many days per week you train versus volume. If volume is equated, frequency is not a massive deal. But again, it makes sense to me if I can split those up over 2 different workouts and structurally that works, I can push hard and do really well and be effective on all 7 sets 2 times. If I put them all together, the back end of those sets might get a little bit shit. So again, you split it up, we can put good intensity and good effort into both as long as we're leaving enough recovery time. So that's the reason I split it up, and most muscle groups I'll do a frequency of 2 to 3 times per week. Again, you know, you can set specific program structures like upper body, lower body, or push, pull legs, or whatever it might be, but it's all about principles. So you can set that as a good structure, but then for me, I do vary some things. So instead of push, pull legs, I go push, lower, pull for some reasons as mentioned earlier. And again, that works for me. So it's all about just finding those little things that work for you, and you don't have to do 20 sets per week in the one workout. You could split it up in 2 sets of 10 and it would be completely fine, potentially even better. So just keep that in mind. Okay, lateral delts. Next on the agenda, we have the behind the back cable lateral raise. So point number 1 about this one is it gets set at around about hip height, or if your handle is hanging down by your side, set the cable at kind of that height. Now, when I get into position, what will happen will be that it will be hard because the resistance is versing me directly at this height. If you lower it down from there, it doesn't start getting as hard as you get through the motion. And just as we've been talking about, we want to make it hard in the stretch position. So for me, I'll kind of set up, I'll put it behind my back like such. Oh, that's the other thing. So I've got these cuffs here just so I don't have to hold on to anything. We clip in. We get some stability, and then we essentially raise out to the side. So you can be as side on as you want, but you'll find that the more side on you are, it'll just clip your butt. So I'll get into a position where I turn in towards my hand a little bit, such that I don't clip my butt.
I'll do this for about 10 to 20 reps per side. Kind of almost treat it as a superset, so go from one side to the next. While one is resting, the other is working. Now, you can also do this in front. So you could do it from this position here. I do that. I think both are good. Currently in my program, I'm doing behind the back one. In the future, I might do this one. Both good. All right, a couple more practice and I'll be ready to hit it. Alright, so that's the cable lateral raise behind the back. I've got the cuffs here so I don't have to hold on to the weight. Again, not a game changer, just something to try. I've tried it a couple months back, started to feel really good. Setting the cable at about hand height when you're standing here, so it's hard at the beginning. I did 5 sets there, but again, I have added extra volume to this particular muscle group and my arms for this program, and I've been experimenting with that and sort of seeing if that leads to better outcomes or not. So still playing the experimental game here. So far so good, body can recover well, so that's a good sign. And yeah, 5 sets done. The 4th and 5th set also are drop set. So again, another effective technique I found for this muscle group. I had a weight, I did, might have been 12, I dropped it down 10 to 20%. So it's 1 plate on this cable machine, and then I did another set. So again, going to fatigue or failure on that first set, and then getting to going to failure on the second set again. Really, really effective. Terribly uncomfortable, but very effective. All right, on we march. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the decline lying dumbbell front raise, and I do this as a superset with a cable skull crusher. So the reason I do this on the decline is the same reason I do the decline bicep curl on the back day earlier in the week. It's the resistance. So when it comes to free weight movements, if they go directly up against gravity, like a squat comes to mind, then the resistance is the same the whole time. But if your joint rotates, like the shoulder will on this one, it doesn't start making it really hard until you start going up against gravity. So when we start to go up against gravity, then it starts to work. So if I'm standing and I'm doing this front wedge, which has been popular in gyms ever since I started, again, it's not getting too difficult until we sort of get up into this kind of range here. And in that range, that's when it's the hardest. Now, if I lie down, number one, you could just start with this, doing this lie down. We get a bigger stretch, so my arm will come behind the level of the body, so bigger stretch on the anterior delt, or the front part of the shoulder, as well as it being harder in that stretch position. And that's the same as what we are talking about all the time, making sure it's hard, making sure we get that stretch, making sure it's hard in that stretch position. Again, it doesn't have to be all the time. You could do both. You could do these during one particular program, do this one through another particular program. It's not one or the other. So again, if anyone's banging on about, you just get up and do the dumbbells and train hard, yeah, that's good. But if you need some variation, there is some potential for this one to be even more effective than the standard one. So, but again, you can do both if you're so staunchly in favor of the other one. So again, I've got wrist wraps. You don't absolutely need these, but I strap in. It just, again, takes away my grip as any factor. Hook the feet in. Lay back. Here, I do like to angle a little bit in towards the midline, because that would appear to be part of the job of the anterior delt. So again, we're getting into that bottom position, stretching the anterior delt out, and then we are again hard in that bottom position. So that's a good variation. You could do something with the cable machine where it's about that height, but again, this one's been in this for mine for the last few months, making great progress. Actually have to go up to significantly more weight today, so we'll see how that goes. And I also do this in combo with a lying cable skull crusher, so I'll show you that in a sec. Lying cable skull crusher. So again, This may not be necessary compared to the standard skull crusher bar, dumbbells, or any of that kind of stuff. But when I threw this into my workout, I found a great stimulus. So I've kept it around, subbed it in and out depending on effectiveness and stuff like that. And it always comes back to being probably one of my favorite exercises. So I've got this box here. One of the factors here is if, depending on your height and your arm length and stuff like that, the bench might limit the range of motion if it's too low. So I've got one of these step boxes to lie on. Shuffle my butt right to the front. Reach back, find the bar, any bar of choice. I've got the straight bar. You can use one of those curl bars, would be fine as well. And then we have a skull crusher variation. So 10 to 15 reps to start off with, I think is good. Again, because you have to fiddle around and get into position, probably wouldn't go too heavy. I probably wouldn't go underneath 10 personally, but I mean, you could try. You could go higher, all the way up to 20 would be good as well. So I do this as a superset, and I'll give you a clip of how that looks like practically. There's no one in the gym currently, so that's fine. But also, yeah, the distance between these two movements, the decline bench and the cable, is not very far, a few meters. So this is an efficient way to get more work done in a shorter period of time. All right, catch you in a sec. Okay, so that's what we call an antagonist paired superset. Got my skull crusher over there. Walk go straight over here. It's 5-ish meters. Start this exercise, so there's no rush. But again, doing it this way, we can save a little bit of time, or we can get more work in a shorter period of time. Now, these muscle groups, they don't really affect each other too much. So I can do this and perform pretty well on both exercises. There will be a time and a place where I probably would never do this, like if I'm doing a challenging deadlift or barbell squat. You're just gassed, you're psychologically smashed, like to go and then do something else, even if it was another muscle group, might not work out so well. But this, 2 isolation movements, none of them systemically fatigue you too much. So we can go from one to the next, and I really have no issue. Save a bit of time or get a little bit more work in. So we'll do 5 sets here. So we walk back over and we start the skull crushers again. All right, so that's how Superset works. I won't put every clip in here, but I'm going to do 5 total, so you get a good idea of how that looks. Skull crusher, walk over an exercise. This could be biceps if you were doing arms together in the same workout. For me, the structure works. They don't affect each other too much. All right, we'll check in at the next exercise. So we've got 2 exercises to go. So this is another unique tricep exercise I use. So a unique thing about the triceps is they pass 2 joints. Well, part of the muscle passes 2 joints. So both the elbow and the long head of the tricep also go past the shoulder and attach to the scapula. So what that means is, like we've been discussing surrounding stretching a muscle out, a fully flexed elbow is the tricep stretched, but also that is an increased stretch to the long head of the tricep. So the first movement that we did for triceps today in isolation was the skull crusher. That's got us in this position. On the other day of the week, I do an overhead version. That's got us in that big stretch position. This one doesn't get that, but we still get a fully flexed elbow. And the way I've set it up here is such that the resistance when I'm starting the movement, or as stretched out as possible, is going back this way, which means it makes it that little bit harder in its most stretched position. So we're like this, and we're essentially trying to make it pull hard at the beginning as I start the movement. If you flip or do a standard one, it starts there, your arms start there, and it doesn't get hard till you start pushing down. So this is a variation that I throw in. I've got 2 exercises to go. This one and the next one could be done as a superset, but because I only do 2 sets, just get in here, smash this out for 2 sets, move over there, smash it out, and we're done. All right, that's the last tricep exercise. I don't even really know what I call this one, but I really like it. I don't like a standard tricep pushdown where it's gone in front. This one for me has felt the best. Again, I lean up against the post on the cable machine. I set this just above head height, and that's kind of the setup position. Bring the elbows down, and we're pushing in that kind of format. So again, it's going back this way. The standard tricep pushdown will be coming against that, so it makes it hard as we start the movement. All right, last exercise. Last exercise, we're going to lying upright row. So again, it just seems like I like lying down a lot, but when I lie down, it stabilizes me, it puts me in a position. It also reduces any fatigue that my back would cop from standing up. And like something, just like a small example is that I've got deadlifts tomorrow, so a less fatigued back going into deadlifts, even if it's minor, is worth it in my mind. So again, when I lie back here, we want the cable set at a height that it kind of allow a nice smooth upright row path. If it's too low, it'll smash into your body. So high enough that it's out of the way of your body. My hand position is shoulder width-ish. I've found too narrow on this, and it kind of screws my wrist in and it doesn't feel super comfortable. So it's about shoulder width. I'll take my grip, laying back, lock in, and then our standard upright row. So again, lying down sets me into position, less fatigue on my back, which again, never a bad thing. This is about the shoulders, not the back. Okay, 2 sets here, and then we are done.
All right, that's a wrap on today's workout, guys. So push workout or chest, shoulders, triceps, whatever you want to call it. Very good, been a good week. I'm loving things so far. If you find, should I say, that you are struggling to get into the routine of the gym, or it's not as fun as it might seem for other people, just keep in mind things get better. You just keep chipping away that little bit of progression, and eventually these good feelings that you might notice from people who are seeing success in the gym, you will get as well. It just takes time. Remember, nothing comes quickly that's worthwhile, right? So you've just got to keep chipping away. And remember, it's all about progress over perfection. Coach Dan, signing off.